right, we're back with another episode of 21 Roots today, and today is very special. I've known Truett Marshall for a while. He does a lot of the skit stuff on Facebook and YouTube and kind of everything, especially in the turkey season. He's probably very recognizable to a lot of you folks. Very excited about this.
Oh yeah, I'm fired up. Glad you had us come down to Big Lake, Mississippi, right?
Yeah, it's a big town, ain't it?
That's right.
What, a yellow flashing light, that's about it.
That's it. Hey, sometimes smaller is better.
Absolutely, man. Well, like you said, you've been into the social media side pretty big recently. It seemed like you're gaining some traction.
Yeah, it's good Lord's definitely blessed me. Stuff's doing pretty good and getting a decent following now.
Yeah.
Just to, you never know what's going to happen unless you try it. So I just started putting out stuff. And if you just stay consistent and put out, quality content.
Yeah.
I don't want to say quality, but like you.
Yeah, something it's raw, that's you. Man. It's raw. I feel like when I watch those videos, I'm like, this guy's a goober.
Yeah.
But I also sitting there thinking, this guy's probably like this on and off camera.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's like my mother-in-law said. She's like, yeah, you're just getting followers, just being yourself. I was like, yeah, I guess so. And that's sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing, But it's I've enjoyed doing it. It's just it's been a blessing for sure. I never thought I'd get this far.
Yeah. Well, just keep doing it. I feel like we've been chomping at it for, I guess we're going on 4 or 5 years now, and I feel like we are just now starting to roll things over a little bit, and we're not rolling much, and I'm not talking money. I'm just talking about like we're accumulating followers. We're getting like kind of a smaller fan base type thing. So you gained a little traction quicker than we have. Congratulations to you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. But man, the stuff y'all are putting out, like your velvet video you just did, is awesome, because it's like it takes a lot to put, because I've tried to do just hunt videos, and the way y'all put it out there, like it's a storyline and everything. I don't think people really know how much time and effort that takes, and creativity.
Right.
You're kind of, a lot of people are, they're just filming hunts. Y'all are, get Christ involved, doing the story, the whole 9 yards, and I feel like I really enjoy watching that.
I appreciate that, man. It definitely takes time. It's just really hard to create a story kind of sometimes where we are, because it's hard to just target one deer. It's hard to just say, okay, this is the deer I'm going to focus on, I'm going to hunt him, because we're not like in the Midwest. We don't have a place that's laid out where you can just cut this deer off, and if he's living there, you can hunt funnels and this and that. I mean, we may be sitting on a 100-acre block, and then you're surrounded by 20,000 acres worth of timber for 100 miles. I mean, that deer can go anywhere. There's no topo change. There's none of that. So it's hard, and then you got neighbors that shoot spikes and 4 points, and
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Out in the Midwest, you probably ain't got to worry about neighbors hunting as much, but here everybody's got a Tacticam, multi-read camera, or you got a cell cam. You got feeders out everywhere. So hunting private land down here is basically hunting public land.
Yeah, I mean, like we're on this block here. There's a club 100 yards that way, and there's a 3,000 acre club behind us here, and then there's a 300 acre block right here of this neighbor that they kill. I mean, we're surrounded, so it's kind of, and we're pretty much all pasture land, so it's it can be difficult.
Our private land, around the perimeter, there's feeders. Neighbors just have feeders.
Yeah.
Right next to our fence. So.
Yeah, everybody around here's got feeders. It's definitely a cluster, but we also are blessed enough that we do have that 100-acre block of land. There's so many people who do not have that. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, it's just a blessing in itself just to say, hey, we got a little dirt.
Yeah, how many deer y'all kill off that year? Every year, 100 acres?
2 tops, and that's typically Tanner's little boys. I mean, they may shoot a doe and a 4-point or something like that. I mean, I can't take too much about neighbors shooting them, but they're 7 and 9, so a little more understandable, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
So we try to manage it the best we can, other than them shooting 1 or 2. But
y'all ever killed any good bucks off of it?
We killed.
That velvet deer, was that off of it?
That was off of a place a little bit northwest here around Sebastopol, Mississippi. But that place we've killed a couple good deer. The deer when you walk into the camp there, outside there, Killed him there. Killed the velvet buck there. My brother killed the opening day velvet season hunt from last year. He killed him there. So that place typically you can scratch something up, but on this place, my grandpa killed like a 132-inch 8-point. I killed a really wide 8-point and 8 years ago off of it. But other than that, no. I've had some pretty good ones on camera. I had one 3 years ago on camera, and I actually drove in one day trying to feed, and he jumped out in the road in front of him. I saw him, and he left.
That's
typical.
Right. Yep.
And neighbor killed him. He was 145. So that was the biggest that I've had around here. So they can show up. Every deer that I have had, what I would say is 130 plus, the same guys killed him every time.
They just got the spot.
They just got the spot. Same place that I was talking about when we killed the velvet deer at. Guy behind me, every time I get a really big one, dead. Never fails. Every year kills him. He's just got the spot.
Mm-hmm. This is better habitat.
No, I don't. He may just feed more than me. I don't know.
That's right. He might have a secret blend over there.
He does. Well, Truett reached out to me a couple weeks ago talking about this type of stuff and told me that you had an interesting story. And when he told me that story, he was kind of like, it may not really sound believable, but I said, you just don't understand who you're talking to. I said, because my mama almost has word for word the same story. And I hope that she gets healthy enough again to be able to come on here and tell it. But when the shepherd walks in the room,
that's right.
We've been there.
That's right.
We know that, and it recollects with me very well. And I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear it from your mouth.
Okay. Well, it was back in March of 2016. Leading up to that week, I had been bush hogging some fire lanes, and I have a 400-some pound weight that keeps the disc, and that fell off, and so I pushed it back on it. And then coming out of a movie theater one Sunday evening, I collided with a guy. We hit heads. And the reason I tell you that is what happened to me, they don't really know why it happened. But on Tuesday of that week, which was March the 1st, I was in the shower, and I reached down to get a bottle of shampoo, and when I stood back up, it just felt like somebody took a hot iron and just stuck on the top of my head. It was like a pow, and then I could feel like squirting across the top of my head, and I'm thinking, this ain't good. And so my face felt real hot, and I got out of the shower, and I told my wife, I said, something happened. I don't know what happened in the shower. And she said, are you going to be okay? I said, yeah, we were planning on going to Picayune, her and my daughter. And we were on the way to Picayune. She calls my brother, who's a paramedic, and he said, Shannon, something happened to him in the shower, and he said his head hurt real bad, and he felt like stuff was squirting across the top of his head. And he said, well, go take him to Caleb, which is my nephew, who's also a paramedic. And I'm talking to Caleb, and Caleb says, I don't know, Uncle Shannon, if your head gets to hurting worse or if you throw up. He said, you might need to go check. I hadn't thrown up in 30 years. As soon as he said that, I threw up.
Wow.
And so he said, you might need to go to the emergency room. We was in Picayune, so I went over to Highland Hospital. And I go into the emergency room, and then they put me back in a room, and they went and do a CAT scan. And put me back into the room, and then when two doctors walk in and their arms are crossed and they're looking at you, and they say, what did you do? I said, I don't know. Why? And he said, you got 2 brain bleeds on your brainstem. I had 2 subarachnoid hemorrhages on my brainstem. I said, so what does that mean? And they said, well, we're going to have to get you to a neurologist. I said, so I'm just going to drive there? And they said, oh, no. We get a helicopter, we'll fly you. But if we could, the cloud cover was bad, and so put me in an ambulance, send me to closest neurologist they could find was in Covington. And so I get there, they do another CT, same thing. Doctor comes out and says, what did you do? So what do you mean, what did I do? And they said, what have you been doing? So just, you're healthy looking, and that shouldn't have happened. I mean, you had never had blood pressure issues. You hadn't ever had any issues. And so they said, we got to coordinate with Ochsner. And so Ochsner said, we don't feel comfortable leaving him at St. Tammany. We need to get you down here. And so they sent me to Ochsner and get into Ochsner in the emergency room. And my blood pressure was staying up, and they said we kept trying to bring it down. And they said, we want to monitor your blood pressure instead of doing it with the manually or having it every now and then. We want to keep a constant watch on your blood pressure. And I said, so how y'all going to do that? And they said, we're going to put an arterial line in your arm. And I said, what is that? And they said, well, it's basically it was a metal rod, a little about that long, and we're going to stick it in here. I said, well, don't put it in this hand. I said, because me playing baseball, I'm injured that wrist. They said, well, that's where we want to put it. And so they tried 9 times to put it in that hand, and they couldn't get in. Well, anyway, when they're putting it in, was very painful, and they couldn't get it. So they tried 9 different times. And so after, I just remember just bearing down, like, I can't, this is painful. I remember I put my eyes on the monitors and saw what my heartbeat was. It was like 80. And I noticed, and as I was watching that heartbeat, it started coming down. And I got feeling funny. And I watched it go 80, 75, 60, 50. And I told myself, I'm feeling funny. And when it got to about 40 beats, 30 beats, it was just like the entire room just immediately just turned white. The walls went away. I mean, it was just like, it was nothing but a big white open area. And I remember, like there was a road, but like went across the horizon and just kind of went up. And I thought it was pine trees that was there at the end. But I think, to me, I think it was angels that were bowing down. And then this shepherd walked out of those clouds and just kind of, he didn't come into the room, but he walked by the room. And it was like I had an overwhelming sense to know that he wasn't just healing me, he was healing multitudes.
Yeah.
He wasn't in a hurry, but he knew he was like he was on the divine mission. He had been asked to come, he was coming. And he was just slowly walking by. I remember thinking at the time, it's like the entire room just disintegrated. It was no more walls, nothing. And then, and when that went away and my wife come back in, I said, somebody walked in this room. She said, what do you mean somebody walked in this room? I said, I don't know what happened, but something happened. Up until that point, they thought I was going to die. I mean, they was expecting it. Things turned around, and I told them my headache's gone, but they still wanted to do a angiogram. Instead of the heart, they go up in the brain. They still go through the groin and go, instead of stopping at your heart, they go kind of on the back side and go up through the main artery and they went up in my brain to see what was going on. And them doing that, this ear, well, I remember when they were doing it, feel like lightning bolts going across my face. And they would say, we're on this side. And when they got on this side, this ear feel like it filled up with fluid. And for 2 days, I spun. I mean, I'd open my eyes, I was just spinning. I'd look at, like if I was to look at that deer head, it would split. I just kept my eyes closed. But ever since then, this ear has been damaged. Hearing's not very good out of it. But after that experience, everything turned around. I mean, that was on a Thursday, and on Friday, they said, well, we're going to keep you anyway. We don't want to send you home too early. And I said, well, when you send me home, they've said they're going to send you home on Sunday. And so when they come to get me on Sunday, they brought a wheelchair. I said, no, I'm walking out of here. He said, you don't understand. You don't walk out of the 5th floor of Ochsner. I said, I'm walking out. So I walked out. And, I tell people, when I tell that, it sounds like weird. Everybody be like, yeah, right. But that happened.
Oh, look,
that happened.
You don't have to convince me.
And I don't tell it a lot because to me, when all that was going on, I wasn't afraid at all, not at all. But after that, I think about what happened, and it scares me to death. That how close I was close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I asked them, I said, what did what did I have? And they said, you had 2 subarachnoid hemorrhages on the brainstem.
And they're gone.
They're gone. They said, you normally, if you live, you don't feed yourself no more. You don't walk anymore.
And they didn't even have to fix them.
Mm-mm. No.
Give you chills, man.
No.
Would you say when you killed that velvet buck the other day, it's a God thing?
It's a God thing.
Yes, sir.
It's a God thing. Whether he's switching the direction of the wind or he's healing hemorrhages in your brain, it's a God thing.
Yeah. And when people ask me to tell it, I'll tell it. And sometimes I've been called to hospital rooms, and people will say, "Didn't you have an experience?" And I'll tell them, you know, he's a healing God. But two things that stuck out about that: a shepherd. I mean, he had the staff and everything. He was walking very slow, and those two, I still think it was cherubim just kneeling. That and the overwhelming reality, he was healing multitudes.
Yeah. I think it's cool that you took that from that it wasn't just a solo mission just to come pick you up off the ground. That he's working everywhere.
And it was like he had been asked to come, and he was coming.
Yeah.
He's coming back to the sheep, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
That is awesome, dude. That, like I said, I would love to just kind of tell some of my mama's story, but I don't think it's my place. I would love for her to get on her and tell it, but it's very similar. You know, she asked the Lord, she said, Lord, I need my mama. She was on her deathbed too. And he said, I can't do that, but I can bring you mine. And there they came. So that'll be a good story for another day for sure. But I'm thankful that you got to have that experience, and I'm glad that he didn't just heal you. I'm glad that he gave you the physical experience of being there with him and realizing that, hey, he's coming, he's here. We asked him to be here, and you got to see the reality of our God.
Yeah,
you know?
and he wasn't in a hurry either. I mean, he knew what he was doing. He wasn't. He was getting there.
Yeah.
In his time, he was getting there.
Well, like Karen Peck sings, isn't he great when he's 4 days late?
Yeah.
He's still on time.
Yeah.
That's amen.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat, dude. I come from a family, where my grandpa's a pastor, so I've been in the ministry side of life. I may not have always abided in it the way that I should, but you hear these stories, you see these stories, and you get to see the reality of not just what's in this book, and it seems like just old stories. And why doesn't things like this happen anymore? It happens.
Mm-hmm.
He still speaks. He still moves. He still shakes the grounds, but sometimes we're just too loud to hear it and too loud to see it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And out of this, it made me focus on people to listen to them more, because I don't hear as good, so I have to listen. And I was, fast moving person. I'd listen to you, but I wouldn't really listen to you. But also at that spring, I couldn't turkey hunt because that happened on March 1st. And for 2 weeks after, I was still just trying to get my head up. And when I'd walk, I'd put my hand on my wife's shoulder. But that spring, it launched Truett. He always had followed me around turkey hunting. I couldn't go.
Yeah.
And it launched him. I mean, he become the turkey hunter that followed me around.
Yeah.
Now he is. That's what he's always had it in him. He just, to me,
Ain't it crazy
launched.
that it's little things like that and a turkey can change your life?
That's right. Yeah, that kind of, I had the freedom that year. Well, I won't say freedom. I had that was the first year I had my driver's license, and that's the first time, I got turned loose. And
Yeah, I'd be laying in a bed. He'd be on his cell phone. This is what he's doing. What I do?
yeah. Oh, I actually, that year, the day after opening day, I killed a turkey on public land, and it was not your traditional way. I mean, it was completely legal, but he was so pressured. I'll just break the story down. So, the season opened March 15th. March 15th, it was super windy, overcast day, winds blowing, and there's this fire lane that I had to get to. Well, I'm sitting there. It's probably 3 o'clock in the morning, and I see a truck pull up, and it pulls around and goes off. I said, well, I'll just wait. Anyways, I get to the fire lane. Somebody's already there. I see headlamps and stuff. I was like, well, it's going to be a rough day. It probably won't be good anyways. I'll go somewhere else to try to find another one. And I go, don't hear nothing, go back to the house. Tomorrow's a new day. I get there. As soon as I see some truck headlights pull up behind me, I strike out. I have my stuff on and everything. I go. And I'm sitting on that fire lane, I don't know, probably an hour. I see these headlights come by. And I had a little headlight, and I kind of shine at them, kind of let them know where I'm at, and I kind of whistle at them. lights go off, and I don't see them again. So I'm assuming they're gone. And so I'm at the bottom of the hill because there's a branch runs through there, and I figured he's gonna be roosted there. And he was on top of the hill. When daylight cracked, he got. So I go run up on the hill, and next thing I know, I'm out of eye with what's that? Flexstone used to have a funky chicken. So I just like see the silhouette of this like half the neck of a turkey sitting there, and I was like, "What is going on?" And there's two guys that are like right beside it, and they're flagging me up. Wait, I was like, "Dude," I was like, "Y'all see me? Come up here." And I'm pretty sure I seen y'all yesterday, and just have some respect or whatever. And they just like flagging me off, like, "Go, get out of here, get out of here." I said, "Okay." So I kind of slide off back towards the truck. I had to go back that way anyways. And that turkey's he's gobbling at these some cutters they had cranked up. Every time he cut a tree,
Yeah.
he'd gobble. I said, "Okay." He's gobbling pretty good. I said, "Maybe he's a young turkey." I was like, "I'll just shake a box, see what happens." And I shake a box and he flies and lands in a tree. And I'm sitting there, I was like, "Okay." Well, he flew back towards the truck. And gotta go that way anyways. So I'm just sitting there, and it's super thick. It's probably it's like unthin pines, but it's not the unthin pines where you look under it and it's nothing there.
Yeah.
This is strictly yopons. Like it's thick, like super thick. And next thing I know, I'm surrounded by turkey yelping, which is it's artificial turkey yelping. It's people yelping on mouth calls and stuff.
How many people you think was in there?
I think there was probably three guys, and I know there was
separate hunters.
I think two of them were together, and I think another one kind of just I don't know where he came from, but I can hear him. Yeah, and I was like, "Well, he's gonna stay in a tree or something as long as they keep calling." I'm just sitting there, and I hear that skitter. I said, "Well,
He ain't gobbled a time with them yuppers, has he?
no." He just gobbling at them skitters, cutting them at them cutters, cutting those trees, and I said, "Well, I'm gonna start crawling to him." I keep going. I'm sitting up on my knees. I ain't heard him in a while, and so okay, he's still there. Yeah, that's it. He's still there. We can get a little closer, and I get to kind of where I think he's at, and I don't see anything, and I'm kind of just sitting there, and I just kind of yelp real soft, and her, and like 10 foot off the ground, like there's a first limb on like probably 15-year-old pine tree. These trees probably I don't know 55, 60 feet tall, anyways, and the first limb, and it's so thick I kind of just see a silhouette, and I see like a beard hang down, and I kind of can see like his back go up. I said, "Oh, there he is," and he's probably 30 yards, and I shoot him. And I looked at my phone, and I got some old Snapchat memories. I killed that turkey 11:30 just before lunch.
Wow.
So yeah, and like I say, it's not your traditional way of killing a turkey, but it's not shooting him off the roofs. I figured at that point, there's no different than crawling up on one in a field strutting.
Yeah.
It's the same
He
thing.
He wasn't your traditional height in a tree. I mean, you just about jump up and knock him out of there with a stick.
Yeah. It wasn't like I was slip up there in the dark and rolling him out, but that in itself too, that's kind of, especially down here, it's really tough to get close
Ain't
to
that
a
wild
turkey.
that there's a turkey in the tree at 11 o'clock in the morning? That just shows what a bunch of knuckleheads will do.
Yeah, it's
That's
I
a
think there
true
was
pressure
one
turkey.
goblin turkey on that management area that year.
Yeah.
One. So everybody was.
yeah, it was rough. Yeah, pressure will definitely change a bird. And I've been to like Nebraska and stuff turkey hunt too, and people are like, "Oh man, these turkeys are dumb." They'll just come running to you. But we hunted some areas, and you could tell there was a good bit of pressure.
Yeah.
And yeah, they were easier to hunt and stuff and find, but man, a turkey, if he's got pressure on him, he's gonna when
we went out west, we had that mindset too, which I I kind of didn't at the same time because in my mind I was like finding a turkey because we went blind. We loaded up and drove all the way to Montana and Idaho, Washington, Oregon, Colorado. We did all of it in one swing. And the finding turkeys, I was pretty scared. But even when you did find them, they were not running and gunning, screaming down your gun barrel. Like, you had to work for them. I mean, we had 2 or 3 hours working for those turkeys. And I was like, well, this is Eastern stuff. You know, or they would hit the ground and they'd go 2 miles one direction. I mean, it was a different experience for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when we went to Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, Kansas was the first one we went to. You know, we put in different. So I had a draw in one part of the state. He had a part another state. So first place we come was mine. 15 minutes, we had that turkey killed. And I thought, wow, okay.
Yeah.
But after that,
Yeah,
it was hard.
There were separate units, and one unit was a little bit drier than the other, and I don't think they had a good hatch in a couple of years. It was pretty tough to find turkeys, and we wound up just going straight to Nebraska. We went to Nebraska. As soon as we pull in Nebraska, in 30 minutes we kill a turkey. But you know, we get our limit there in a couple of days, and we hop back to Nebraska, and we wound up filling that tag. So that was a blessing in itself. I think we killed seven in 8 days, and we missed one day. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Me and my brother, we've done a swing out west, and then in 23, or I guess that would have been spring of 24, I did the East Coast.
Oh yeah, I bet that was sweet.
So
How far up north did you go?
very top.
To Maine?
Very top.
Yeah.
To Maine.
Wow. Was it cold up there at the time?
It was just right.
Yeah.
It was just right. I think it was like 38, 40 in the mornings. I mean,
nice.
Ooh, good.
Did you get some lobster?
I didn't. I'm allergic to seafood.
I didn't know that.
I can't. I say I'm allergic to it. I had a reaction to crawfish when I was like 13, and they told me to avoid fish, shellfish stuff. And it may have just been the seasoning on it, but I'm just one of those people. If I don't need it, I ain't gonna try it. Ain't no reason to risk it.
Yeah,
So.
ain't nothing that good tasting for your throat to start closing up and stuff.
It ain't worth the risk. But the East Coast was good. I enjoyed the West. It's beautiful. But at the same time, I'm not really a sightseer. I just like to shoot a turkey. I don't care if he's back here or he's in Maine. I just want to shoot a turkey if I'm on hunt. It's not about the sight. It's not about the experience. I ain't going to lie. I just like to kill.
That's right. That mentality, man.
I just like to see one flop.
Yeah.
It was cool. I really enjoyed the Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, all that area. It was different. To be able to go up there in almost June and have to wear a jacket, that's pretty neat.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it was not exactly what I was expecting, because every story I've heard from up there is, dude, there's turkeys everywhere. Man, there's turkeys in every field. You're going to see turkey. You're just going to shake a stick and kill one. Now, we killed a turkey a day pretty much, but we spent hours and hours searching or driving. We didn't see turkeys anywhere. You just have to find a piece. And, you know, up there, at least at that time, I don't know if anything has changed since 24, but at least at that time, you didn't have to worry about, like, if it wasn't posted, you could hunt it. So you could find a 300-acre block. If there's no posted signs, I mean, you're hunting public land up there. So we did a lot of that. We tried to find big blocks of timber and just go hunt it just like as if it was a piece of public land. And done a lot of walking. We really did.
Oh, yeah.
When we first got to Maine, we probably crossed into the state 5 miles, and there was a gobbler and some hens standing out in the field about 600 yards off the road. And we were like, this is about to be blazing, son. We went in there and killed him right off the bat. And then we spent a day and a half trying to find another turkey. So.
Yep. And the thing now, too, I think turkey hunt's more popular than ever. So you got everybody doing it, too.
Yeah.
So
I guess a lot of that hype about Maine and stuff has been over the, last 4 years. I've heard so much out of it. But, I mean, you think how much has changed in the last 4 years. Think of all the people posting videos and all the people. I mean, Dave Owens has changed public land and hunting the public. They have all changed it completely. And I don't think that they've affected a whole lot as far as the deer. I really don't, because not everybody's just going to walk in there and shoot a good deer. And it's a little bit more discouraging, but it don't take too many brain cells to kill a turkey if you can find him.
yeah. mature buck
Yeah, it's
that's
tough.
on public land, especially, I mean, any mature buck, but
Yep.
especially one that's reached 6 years old.
Yep.
Be hunting like that, yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
It is for sure tough. It's a different experience, but like I said, I really enjoyed that, and I really hope this spring that I'll be able to do a little more moving. We ought to get together and try to go somewhere.
Yeah,
If you got some time to go, we
I'm down.
figure something out somewhere.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see what happens to go after it.
Well, I've been going through Esther in the church, and one of the things about the book of Esther is the name of God's not mentioned at all. But his hand is everywhere. It's where he's saving his people, so out of that will come the Messiah. And there was a guy by the name of Haman that had said that he was going to put Mordecai to death, and he was not going to put Mordecai to death, he's going to put all these people to death. And so it looked like that Haman was going to win. But if you know the story of Esther, it ends up where Mordecai gets promoted and awarded and protected, and Haman gets hung on his own gallows. But there's a verse that Mordecai told Esther, said, you have went basically from the shack to the palace. You went from anybody knowing who you are to now you're the wife of the king. You have King Ahasuerus. And you need to understand that you weren't giving this just for yourself. And he says in Esther chapter 4, he says, yet who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this. And he says, you could be quiet if you want to, but you're not going to survive it. You need to speak up. And she says, but if I perish, I perish. And so she said, I'm going to step up. But that story tells me that nothing happens to you that God didn't allow. And anything that God allows you, positions or influence, it's for Him. And that you didn't just come to that by accident, that you have come to that point in your life for the kingdom. And when Mordecai told Esther, said, have you ever thought about that you have been put in that palace for such a time as this? And so Esther stood up and basically stepped up. She said, well, I'm going to do the right thing, whether it kills me or not.
Yeah.
And so she did the right thing. And out of that, Mordecai is delivered. Haman is put to death. God's people are preserved. But Mordecai saved the king in the story. There was two guys who were wanting to kill the king, and he pointed them out that these two guys were going to try to kill the king. He told Esther. Esther told the king. The king put these two guys to death. And then nothing was done for Mordecai. Now Mordecai's in jail, fixing to be hung in the gallows. In chapter 5 or chapter 6, I think it is, the king can't sleep. And so he gets up that night. He says, bring me something to read. And they happen to bring him a particular book and turn to a particular page in the leader of a particular story. And that what he read was where Mordecai saved him and pointed out to these two guys. And the king says, whatever happened to Mordecai? Said, did we do anything for Mordecai? I said, nope, we ain't done anything for him. And so what became a sleepless night for a king is a reminder that God doesn't sleep. That he made that guy couldn't sleep that night. And it just didn't happen that particular book turned to that particular page and that particular story just happened. It was God saying, even sleepless nights are in my hand.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you that, where it seemed like even the enemies may be winning, they don't win.
Yeah.
I win. The Lord wins. And whenever you think you've done everything right and you're overlooked, God sees everything. God writes everything down. I mean, he says in the Gospels that if you give someone gave them a glass of water because they belong to a prophet, because they're a prophet, they'll get a prophet's reward. And I tell the story that, could you imagine someone who has given money to the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, to support his ministry, one day standing before the Lord and they say, "Oh, by the way, you get the reward of Billy Graham." And he said, "Wait a minute, I ain't done nothing like Billy Graham did." But you gave him a cup of water, and you get a prophet's reward.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
So,
pretty cool, dude.
Esther is a book that reminds me that nothing happens to you that God doesn't allow. But everything is in God's timing, everything is in God's hands, and everything's for God's purpose.
Yeah.
So no matter what it is. So sometimes we think, God, I'm asking you to do something, and I don't understand. And God's like, just like that would happen to me, He's going to get there.
Yeah.
He's going to make it happen. And in a hurry, but everything's under His timing. And what we will see as the delay is sometimes it's God having to mature us,
Right.
to get us ready
Absolutely.
for what He's fixing to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes get us even the place ready. Sometimes we may be ready, but the place isn't ready.
Yeah.
And then His hands over all of it. Like we sometimes forget. God, you ain't doing anything in my life. We're breathing. He
You're
gives us
alive,
He
man.
gives our next breath. I mean, that breath comes from Him.
Absolutely
So-
does. I like that. I mean, I've read Esther. I've heard the story of Esther, but I don't know that I've ever heard it explained that way. That's pretty. I like that. That's different. That's good. Man, like I said earlier, it's so cool to have people from different parts of the world have same experiences. It may not be for me, but for a family experience, and we all kind of love the same thing. We love turkeys, we love deer, we love hunting, and we love Jesus.
Amen.
And
That's
I just
right.
appreciate y'all, you reaching out, and I
Yeah.
appreciate y'all taking the 2-hour drive just to come and spend 45 minutes with me. And it means the world to me. And
Appreciate you having
Yeah,
us.
man, absolutely. Thank you for having us. And your folks we met earlier, man, they're
y'all actually met Mama, didn't you?
no, we
No.
didn't meet her,
We
but
met Mr. Larry and
Jason,
Jason.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
super great guy.
Well, the story you tell, I know you said you don't tell it a lot, and I understand it's a big pill for a lot of people to swallow, but there's somebody that needs to hear it, and I just appreciate your openness and willingness and obedience to God, just to be able to come up here and say, "Hey, this is what happened to me."
Yeah,
Because a lot of
Appreciate your
people,
attitude.
a lot of people don't need beaten over the head. A lot of people just need to hear some experiences.
Yeah.
that's right. Well,
Right.
thank you for letting us
Thank you.
put this out on your platform.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah, it's always that story kind of always tugs at my heart. Especially since it's my dad, and
Absolutely, dude.
I've been I feel like just more people should hear it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
I appreciate you.
Well, look, once again, I appreciate y'all. If y'all got time, I kind of hungry, y'all. Have y'all ate breakfast or lunch or anything?
No, I'm always down to eat now. I'm always down to eat.
Let's go get something to eat.
Alrighty, let's do it.